I'm Ingrid Dam. I'm from the Netherlands, and I'm an eco-friendly mixed media artist, which means I make art out of garbage, single-use plastics, and along with that, I use eco-friendly art supply. So no acrylic, no gel mediums, none of that. It's watercolor, gouache, um, and something that's slightly on the edge is PVA glue, which I found out is eco-friendlier, but I'm not an eco-friendlier mixed media artist. So I have to find a solution for that. I started, and oh, I'm so glad that you're here, Liz. I started because I found Liz on the internet, and she was talking about watercolor on canvas. And I thought, oh my, that is so pretty. But I didn't like the canvas. So I thought I could make canvases out of old clothes. So this is an old blouse, and that I put on the frame and put some gesso on it, so I can work on that. And I didn't stop there. I thought, okay, what can I do to get things out of the environment that are very, very harmful. And one thing I thought about was chips bags. Potato chips bags, and those are the worst because they have a layer of plastic, and on the other side it's aluminum. So I started painting on those. And what I did, I put the potato bag on a piece of cardboard, and after that I gesso it, and this one's with pastel. And I finished it with a few layers of beeswax. And this is my latest. I did this one with gouache, and that was kind of scary because gouache is chalky, and a chips bag is somewhat flexible. So what happened is, let me see, yes, I got a nice crackle.
I like it.
Yeah, I love it, but I thought, okay, I don't want to move it too much because it will crack off. So I put a layer of a varnish over it. Not my thing, varnish. It's not eco-friendly, but I had to. And after that, one layer of beeswax. For what we're going to do today, I have here an example on which I tried to do it in 1 hour. So I would definitely know that we could do this in 90 minutes. But this is half finished. So at the end, I will do something more to make it more pretty. And what came out of my first piece, I made a very big one with all these colors and textures, and underneath is garbage, is single-use plastic. So it has a really, really nice texture. Chips bags is also single-use plastics. Only the thing with chips bags is when you crumble it, it folds back in its original state. So that makes it a little hard to work on a piece like this. It can, but you have to use a lot of glue just to keep it in place. So yeah, that's my introduction speech. And now, before we start the single-use plastics, there's really a lot. And it's not only things like this. How do you call it? cling film is awful, and it's in every kitchen everywhere. And the thing is, I bought one time a bottle of eco-friendly paint, and it was secondhand, so the cap was already opened. And what did they do? They wrapped it really, not only the cap but the whole bottle with stuff like this. So I bought eco-friendly stuff wrapped in plastic. I was out of my mind. Okay, this is single-use plastic. And the funny thing with this is it has a nice, rich. And that can work very, very well in what we're going to do tonight. I also have strips. This is actually of a chips or a nut bag. I'm not sure, but in the Netherlands we have stuff like this. It's where we get our pills out, our medicine. And I believe in America they do it in bottles. But here in the Netherlands, it's this awful combination of plastic and aluminum. And the only thing they can do is burn it. So, yeah, I have a lot of other stuff. One thing that you might be surprised of, but this is also single-use plastic. It's a bag where they put in onions or oranges, that kind of stuff. And the funny thing is that you have to be careful when you cut it, because it's very nasty in splintering all around. So your whole room will be filled with little orangey things. But things like this, let me get it on the camera. I have used that in one piece. There it is, in red, and I just let it pop out of the paper around it. So that's also a nice effect you can get with stuff like this. What we have is we have a piece of cardboard. A piece of cardboard, and it can be just of an old parcel or whatever, and it doesn't have to be thick. It's going to buckle, but you know that, and that doesn't matter. So I think I'm just going to start, and when there are questions or I'm going too fast or anything, just yell and we're going to be fine. Yeah, you can do that. It takes a bit of magic away from getting it all eco-friendly in that way. We use a lot of glue, and I have here just white glue, Elmer glue, PVA glue, but also children's glue that's made of starch, any kind of starch. You can make it yourself with starch. You could also use, and I have here a big jar, and that's wallpaper glue. It's just wallpaper glue from the hard store. Nothing fancy. You can use that too.
That's ready-made, Ingrid?
This I made myself. It's just from a package of powder.
Oh,
And you put water in it, and you can make it as thick as you like it.
Okay.
I would advise to make it a bit thicker than when you put it on the wall. But yeah, we're going to use a lot of glue, and what I suggest is just put the glue on your piece of cardboard. Nothing fancy, just spread it around. And we're going back to the glue later. And what we're going to do now is just pick some single-use plastic, wrap it up a bit, and just stick it to your board. Not too straight, because we want texture. So we don't spread it out, and we can get dirty hands. Did I warn you about that? Oh yeah, another thing I kept for this is where's the camera? There's the camera. Bubble wrap, and that can make a nice texture too. And of course, we have our cling film, and I like stuff like this. The ends of roll of cookies are done, of course, but it was on the top of it, and it stays somewhat a circle, and I love circles, I really do. So I'm going to stick that one too. It's all plastics now. We don't use the paper towels and that kind of stuff yet. Another thing I like very much is things like this. And in the Netherlands, we get our grapes in here, or other fruit, or mushrooms, stuff like that. But the thing is that it has a nice texture. Let's see. Oh. If you have a lot of plastics on your board, and you have a feeling that when you put your next piece on it, it won't stick again, there it is. Put another layer of glue, really. No, because this is the first layer.
Okay.
After this, there will be another layer, and it's probably wise to keep a little edge free of the, not of the glue, but of the plastic, because we're going with the paper towels on top of it to seal the hole. So yeah, no, it's really not important where the glue is. You just need to keep it in place a little bit, because if you don't do that, it will just pop back and won't stick, and you won't have any art left at the end. Those ridges are fun too. Those are it's a cereal bag, really, but also, oh, this one's nice. We don't have anything with the color yet, but it's a nice color. And it's also that you don't have to cover the whole cardboard. I do that now, but maybe it's too textured now, but we'll see. There will be something nice coming up with it, I think. Yeah, you're never going to buy it again.
Exactly.
Okay, then it's garbage.
Yes.
And do anyone have bags like these? They come from China. Oh yes, I know. I shouldn't buy from China. I don't do it anymore. But I still have those. I still have those bags. So yeah, we can use those too. I'm not focusing on the end product yet, but probably there will be some kind of landscape coming out of this. Because I'm really landscape oriented. Somehow there's always a landscape coming underneath all of this. So, but yeah, you can do that up front. You can think about that, that you want that in your end results.
I think I'm even going to grab a clip just to hold some of these down while it dries.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have time to dry. We're going to the next step.
Okay.
Right.
Then I
Yes,
won't worry about it.
everything's somewhat down, I think. Yes, that's the plastic part. Here comes in the paper towels, the tissues, all the things you've used to wipe away your beautiful watercolor or your acrylic when you're working still with acrylic. I have one piece here myself. This was something like acrylic. The thing with tissues is it's multi-layered. So you can, well, with acrylic it's a bit nastier to get it apart. But with the watercolor, you can get it in multiple layers. So you have lots of paper to work with. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to put another layer of glue on top of this. And then we're layering the tissue on top of that and take a brush, a big brush, and push it down carefully, not to wrap the tissue paper, but to get it down and sealed. Don't forget to put glue on the edge. This is very important, so you can seal your plastic with the paper. We don't have to let it dry. It will still be soaking wet when we put some watercolor on it, or acrylic, or gouache, to give it more color to the painting. And after that, then we have to let it dry. So the thing is, with the tissue paper, it's transparent somehow. So all those dark bits will come through, and those are little presents I embrace to get really the fun stuff in the work. And well, kitchen towel, the paper towel, you can use, we call it kitchen towel. The paper towel is also in layers, so you can get that also. Sometimes you have to rip it a little bit to get the layers apart, or not. This one really sticks. Okay. And when you have a feeling that you only get it wet and not sticky, well, guess what? We just put some glue on top of it. I can tell you, this piece of art will never, ever go away again. It will stay forever. And well, it's kind of important that you make sure that everything's covered with a layer of paper. Well, yeah, it can be that there are pieces of plastic coming out of it, but if you want to put color on it and it's not acrylic paint, it won't stick. And that's how we build up. You can also use your paper to make it a little bit wrinkling and to get even more texture. You have to be careful though. More texture is not always better. I had one piece with so much texture that I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never ever going to do anything with this. It's too much. So you have to think about that. But otherwise, just play around and see what happens. And sometimes you get a piece of paper on your hands and it's all right. There are no goods and no bads. Even in the end, when you think, what's this? You can always say it's abstract. Yeah, oh, another piece of paper or kind of paper is tea bags. And the thing with tea bags, that's another story. You have to get the old tea bags because nowadays tea bags are pretty much biodegradable. And if you use biodegradable tea bags, they will be gone at some point. It would add something to your piece of art that it evolves somehow. Could be. But what I like most about tea bags is the color. I love the color. Of course, you have to use your tea bags first. Otherwise, I know someone really getting upset if we're not going to use the tea bags first. Okay, well, I covered everything.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this part is, oh, yes, is really, look,
Thick.
is really,
Oh, yeah. That's very thick. I'm not using as many varied pieces of plastic either.
no, but I didn't either. But the thing is, I used that top of the cookie roll,
Yeah.
and it's coming up, so there's air underneath it. I can see, I can tip it in.
Oh.
And because we use that much glue, it will eventually get hardened. Well, I
Oh.
still could do that, but less. I hope this one will stick here. No, because it's air. It's another story when you use single-use plastic with lettuce still on it, or a potato peel, or so you have to clean it somewhat because your artwork will definitely evolve in something green and fluffy. Well, that could be something too, right? It would be another chapter of nature getting back to its natural state. Right? Okay. I have a whole bunch of stuff here. I hope I can push it a little bit aside because we're going to do lots of fun with paint. I already see some kind of landscape in it.
Me too.
And I'm just wetting my paint. Just take colors you like. You have to do that anyway because we really need a watery substance. Otherwise it won't flow. So I have a very watery substance, and what I'm going to do is just put some down where I think, okay, this is nice. And if you think, okay, not enough color, just spray it a little bit and spread it out. And you could also try to make droplets, but you have to really get it wet and then spray it so it can flow in between all those textures. Don't worry when you have too many colors on it, or you think there's too much going on. We can fix that later, and I will show that in the other piece later on. You see, I don't hold the brush as I should. I just splatter on color. And just let it happen. Every time I do this, that I think, oh, what's going on and where is it going to? And when it's dry, they'll look different again. I will call my piece done for now. Look at that, all those colors.
Oh my God, yes. Okay.
Amazing.
Yes, this takes well, maybe about a week to really dry. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, you've
Wow.
you've seen how much glue there was on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how much tissue and yeah.
Yeah. And
Makes
water.
sense.
Okay. This one has to dry. Put it aside. That's why I said take something underneath it so you can put it away. Now, here's a piece that I did before this one. And yes, I have another thing for underneath it. And this is the point where you think, okay, what is it? What's going on? What does it want to be? And when I look at it like this, I see some kind of flower. And here's a leaf, and here's a leaf. So I think I'm going to try to get that flower pop out. And I do that with more paint, but not too watery. It's really a dry brush you want to use for this. The dry brush technique is with less water and just go over it. So you scrape the surface of your work and not the layers underneath. And here the pinky stuff. It's just the top of the texture that has extra color now. There can be things that you don't like, that you think, okay, well, maybe I got a little too dark here. And what you do is you get your white gouache. Oh my gosh, do I have, yeah. I thought I'm not going to get the tube open. You get your gouache and just lay a little layer and look at that. It's still black underneath, but because you make the top of the texture white, it breaks down the dark. You know, that's okay too, as long as you can let go when other things happen.
Yeah.
Because you can, especially with art like this, you can try to make something, but it will always be something else. And that's something that I've learned years and years ago when I was trying to make a crochet bear. It was my first bear, and I wanted to look like the picture on the pattern that I found on the internet, and it was a cute bear, and I thought, okay, I want to make that bear, exactly that bear, but I got different kinds of wool, and well, if you have another kind of thread to crochet with, you get another kind of bear. And first I was pissed. I want that bear. I want to have that bear. This one's a failure. It's not the bear that I want. And later on, I looked at the bear and I thought, oh well, it's kind of cute, my bear. And a few days later, I thought my bear is funnier and cuter than the bear on the picture, which it should be. And that's how I learned not to expect too much when you are doing art or making art, or because it's always ending up in another direction than you thought it would be. And who knows, it might surprise you, and you might even think, well, the picture I had in mind was nice, but this is nicer. Now for the finishing touch.
Yay.
Metal. And yes, this is acrylic ink, and it's still in my stash, and I want to get rid of it.
Garbage. Yes.
We're going to use it here. Okay, it's important to have a pretty dry brush again, so we're going to scrub the surface again. Not too much. We all know too much glitter. Oh yeah, okay. There are people that are a fan of too much glitter. I'm not. And you just swipe it over so it scrapes the surface to get it a little oomph. That's what you can do when it's dry, and it's really well. If you have colors that you don't like in the bottom layer, let me put it like that, you can always go over it. So if you say I don't like the blue, I want it more green, you can just go over with a watery color and go over that. If you like the colors and you just want to emphasize certain parts, just go over it with a dry brush and just go very softly over the top layer, and then you will get the texture more vibrant. Okay, the last thing that I want to add to this, because you see it's really rough and matte, and if you want some kind of shine to it, what you can do is get a jar of beeswax, and most of the time it's just with bee farms and that kind of stuff. They just sell it there. I have here a beeswax, and it's also polish wax. So there's another wax in it, but yes, it's stuff like that, and it's you can just squeeze it, and it's really oily. The thing with this is it has some kind of turpentine in it to keep it this workable. So I'm working on another substance without the turpentine, but if you don't have anything else, you can get this anywhere. It's furniture polish or beeswax. And what you do is, I'm going to find a spot that's it's almost dry. What you do is just rub this in and try to get it as deep as possible. So also on the layers underneath. This is so much fun that you can rub it in. And after that, I'm not going to do the whole piece, but after that, what you do is you get a paper towel, a clean paper towel, so not this one, but a clean paper towel. And what you do is, when it's dry, so you can touch it and feel if it's dry or not, and then you can just make little rounds everywhere where you put the beeswax.
Yeah.
And then you get a little shine. Well, not now because it's still wet and I wiped it all away. But yeah. And what you get is, I'm going to show you.
Beautiful.
So,
Yep. Lovely
Wow.
sheen.
This is paint with beeswax.
Mm-hmm.
wow. Really cool.
And then you can say, okay, now I have a real painting. Put a nice frame on it.
Beautiful.
Really cool.